Welcome to this week's roundup of key business developments in Sri Lanka. I'm Nishani Pigera. Let's first take a look at the headlines this week. Sri Lanka in high-stakes trade talks with the US. EU GSP team in the country to monitor progress. And next IMF tranche hinges on electricity tariff revision. In our top story this week, Cabinet spokesman Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa confirmed on Tuesday that Sri Lanka remains actively engaged in crucial trade negotiations with the United States to address the 44% reciprocal tariffs imposed by the Trump administration. He noted that discussions are still ongoing in Washington, D.C., and that an official joint statement will be issued once a final agreement is reached. The Sri Lankan government is confident of arriving at a favorable outcome regarding the reciprocal tariffs before the lapse of the temporary 90-day suspension on its enforcement. Last week, Sri Lanka informed the US Trade Office that it will scrap the para-tariffs imposed on US imports, while also increasing fuel imports from the US to reduce the trade gap. On Monday, a team of senior European Union officials arrived in Sri Lanka to monitor the nation's progress in implementing the 27 conventions under the GSP Plus scheme. The Commission has proposed extending the GSP Plus benefit till the end of 2027 upon the successful completion of the review. EU is Sri Lanka's second largest export partner, with 61% of exports benefiting from the GSP Plus scheme. However, if Sri Lanka becomes an upper middle income country with a per capita of over $4,516, the country would be ineligible for the GSP Plus concessions by 2028. Sri Lanka and the International Monetary Fund reached a staff-level agreement on the fourth review of the country's $3 billion extended fund facility. The IMF praised Sri Lanka's reform progress, highlighting a 5% growth rebound in 2024 and stronger public finances. Pending IMF Executive Board approval and prior actions, particularly on cost-reflective electricity pricing, Sri Lanka will receive the next tranche of $344 million in June, bringing the total disbursements to $1.7 billion. In early April, the IMF flagged the January 20% reduction in electricity tariffs as a breach of its structural benchmarks, warning it could cause losses for the utility and compromise cost-reflective pricing. Sri Lanka is expected to hold discussions on plans to develop an energy hub with India and the UAE in Trincomalee. According to this deal, a multi-product pipeline as well as a bunkering facility will be developed in Trincomalee, including the World War II-era oil tanks partly owned by Lanka IOC. The move also comes at a time when China's Sinopec has signed a deal to develop a $3.2 billion oil refinery in the southern port of Hambantota. On Wednesday, the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation and Lanka IOC cut fuel prices across all categories. Petrol 92 now retails at 293 rupees a litre, down 6 rupees, while Petrol 95 saw a sharp 20 rupee cut to 341 rupees a litre. Diesel and super diesel dropped by 12 rupees and 6 rupees respectively, with kerosene, vital for low-income households, reduced by 5 rupees to 178 rupees a litre. Meanwhile, Laughs Gas confirmed no price hikes for May. In our weekly tourism update, in the first 28 days of April, Sri Lanka welcomed 165,113 tourists, bringing the total arrivals for 2025 to 887,389. Daily arrivals fell to 5,897. India and the United Kingdom and Russia are top source markets in April, with India leading at 38,566 visitors and now accounts for over 20% of all arrivals. The all-share price index at the Colombo Stock Exchange was once again mixed this week, with the turnover averaging around 2 billion rupees. Wednesday saw retail traders booking profits from gains recorded earlier in the week ahead of local government elections. At the Treasury bill auction held on Wednesday, yields on all maturities stayed steady. Bids amounting to 270 billion rupees were received, of which 145 billion were accepted. The Sri Lankan rupee was steady against the dollar this week, with the central bank's indicative mid-spot rate ranging around 299.7 rupees. And that concludes our update for the week. For the latest on economic and business developments in Sri Lanka, do subscribe to our YouTube channel below. We'll be back next week with more insights. Thank you for tuning in. Stay safe.